Howdy, partners. I'm Lucian Astor. Hope you guys have a good day today. Howdy, guys. Not y'all. There's no camera here. We're good. It's right here. Howdy, first. And Billie Eilish's fake Instagram account, Gmail Asa, or a friend. Trying to get. Should I say it? I don't know, man. Crazy stuff happening in the world. Yes. A great day. Okay, just thank you, Jesus.
My child, stop for a moment.
Amen.
Do not scroll past.
Thank you, Jesus. Praise be to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Trinity, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Amen.
My child, stop for a moment. Do not scroll past this.
Thank you, Jesus.
What I am about to tell you could change the direction of your life if you truly hear it. Right now, someone else may already be moving toward the opportunity you have been hesitating about. One you have been thinking, weighing, waiting. The window hath been quietly shifting. This message is not here to pressure you. It is here to wake you. Because some moments in life are small on the surface but massive in consequence.
Yes, sir.
Stay with me until the end of this message. Listen carefully, not casually. What you are about to hear will reveal why you must act now, before someone else steps into what was meant for you. Do not leave halfway through. The step that could change everything is closer than you think. My child, slow down for a moment and stay with me here. I want you to feel that this moment between you and me is real, not rushed, not forced, just a quiet space where I can speak directly to your heart. You may have opened this message thinking it was just another thing to read, another voice passing through your day. But I know exactly where you are in your life right now, and I know the thoughts that have been moving through your mind recently. You have been sensing something subtle, something difficult to explain even to yourself. It is not loud. It does not come like a storm. Instead, it shows up as a gentle awareness, like a small shift inside your spirit that keeps returning to your attention. You may notice it late at night when everything becomes quiet. You may feel it when you pause during your day and your mind drifts toward the future. It is that inner sense that something around you is changing, even though you cannot yet see the full picture. I want you to understand that this feeling is not random. I allowed it to rise inside you because you are standing in a moment where awareness matters more than you realize. You see, my child, there are seasons in your life where everything moves slowly and quietly, and those seasons serve a purpose. They give you time to grow, to heal, to gather strength without pressure. But there are other seasons when movement begins forming beneath the surface long before anyone can see it clearly. Right now you are standing inside one of those seasons. You may still look around and see ordinary days, familiar routines, the same responsibilities that have been part of your life for a while. Nothing on the outside seems urgent. Yet beneath what you can see, something is beginning to unfold. People around you are making decisions you may not know about yet. Opportunities are beginning to take shape in places you have not looked yet. Paths that were once closed are quietly beginning to open, while other paths that seem stable may slowly begin to shift. I see every one of these movements clearly because nothing escapes my sight. When I draw your attention like this, it is not to create pressure in your heart. It is because I want you awake to what is happening so that you do not drift through this moment unaware. There are times when a single step taken at the right moment carries more weight than months of effort later. And my desire for you is that you recognize this moment while it is still unfolding, not after it has already passed. And now listen to me carefully, because this is where I want to guide your thinking gently. You have a habit of taking time before acting. That part of you comes from wisdom and humility. You want to understand things fully before you move. You do not like rushing into decisions without reflection, and that is something I value in you. Yet there is another side to this pattern that you may not always notice. Sometimes the same careful thinking that protects you can quietly slow you down longer than necessary. You begin to wait for clarity that feels complete. You search for signs that remove every uncertainty. Meanwhile, life continues moving forward around you. Others begin acting while you are still evaluating the situation. This is not a criticism of you, my child. I know the intentions of your heart. I know you simply want to do what is right. But right now I want you to recognize that waiting is not always neutral. In some moments, waiting protects you. In other moments, waiting slowly moves you further away from the opportunity. In some moments, waiting protects you. In other moments, waiting slowly moves you further away from the opportunity that once stood right in front of you. That is why I am speaking to you like this, calmly and honestly. I want you to notice the subtle shift that is happening in your life. The world around you is beginning to move in ways you cannot fully see yet. The question that matters now is not whether change is coming. The question is whether you will recognize it while it is still forming. Let me explain something that will help you understand this moment better. Opportunities rarely appear with loud announcements. Most of the time they arrive quietly. They look small at first. They feel uncertain. Sometimes they appear in conversations, ideas, invitations, or situations that do not seem dramatic when they first appear. Because they look ordinary, many people overlook them. They assume there will always be another chance later. They tell themselves they will think about it tomorrow, or next week, or when life becomes calmer. But time does not stand still waiting for someone to feel ready. While one person delays, another person begins moving forward. By the time the first person decides to act, the moment that once belonged to them has already shifted into someone else's hands. I have watched this pattern happen many times in the lives of my children. It is not about competition in the way the world talks about winning and losing. It is simply the reality that certain doors remain open only for a certain window of time. When that window closes, the door may not return in the same way again. I know that hearing this may stir a quiet seriousness inside you, and that is not something you need to fear. My intention is not to fill your heart with pressure or anxiety. I am not telling you that you must rush blindly into something without thought. What I want for you is awareness. Awareness changes everything. When you recognize that a moment carries importance, you begin to pay closer attention to the choices you make within it. Instead of drifting through your days automatically, you begin to move with intention. You begin to notice the small opportunities that once seemed ordinary. You begin to listen more carefully to the direction forming inside your heart. And that is exactly what I want happening inside you right now. I want you aware that the season around you is beginning to shift. The same quiet awareness you have been feeling recently is part of that shift. It is like the first breeze before a change in weather. It does not look dramatic yet, but it tells you something new is approaching. There is something else I want you to understand, my child, and this part matters deeply. The movement forming around you is not meant to threaten you or pull you aside. You are not standing on the edge of losing your place in life. The opportunity unfolding around you is actually meant for you to participate in. The only risk is The only risk is not recognizing it while it is still close enough to step into. The only risk is opportunity unfolding around you is actually meant for you to participate in. The only risk is not recognizing it while it is still close enough to step into. That is why I am speaking to you now, not later. I want you attentive. I want your eyes open. I want your heart awake to the possibility that the next step of your life may be forming right in front of you in ways that still look small today. When you stay aware like this, you begin to see opportunities earlier than before. You begin to act while the door is still open instead of standing outside after it has closed. That kind of awareness Begin to see opportunities earlier than before. You begin to act while the door is still open instead of standing outside after it has closed. When you stay aware like this, you begin to see opportunities earlier than before. You begin to act while the door is still open instead of standing outside after it has closed. That kind of while the door, you begin to see opportunities earlier than before. You begin to act while the door is still open instead of standing outside after it has closed. That kind of awareness is a gift, and I am placing it gently into your hands now. So stay with me in this thought for a moment longer. Right now you are not behind. You are not late. Nothing hath been lost yet. You are simply standing at the beginning of a moment that is still unfolding. The shift around you is quiet, but it is real. People are moving. Decisions are forming. Doors are beginning to move in ways you cannot fully see yet. What matters now is that you stay awake to it. Let the awareness inside you grow instead of pushing it aside. Pay attention to the thoughts that keep returning to your mind. Notice the opportunities that begin appearing in front of you. These small signals are often the first signs of something greater beginning to take shape. And as you stay aware of them, I will continue guiding you step by step so that when the moment arrives to move, you will recognize it clearly. My child, come closer and listen to me carefully, because I want you to truly understand what I am about to say. You are standing in a season where the way you respond to the present moment will shape more than just the next few days of your life. It will influence the direction of your path in ways you cannot fully see yet. I know you have always been thoughtful. You do not rush forward blindly. You prefer to observe, reflect, and consider your steps before you move. That part of your nature has protected you many times before, and I have been pleased to see you grow through wisdom instead of reckless choices. But I want you to look at your life right now through a slightly different lens. Something subtle has shifted in the atmosphere around you. The season you are in is no longer one where waiting quietly will keep everything safe and steady. What once protected you is now slowly becoming the thing that may hold you back if you do not recognize the change that is happening. Let me speak plainly to your heart. When you wait during a season of preparation, that waiting strengthens you. It builds patience. It deepens your understanding. Yet when you continue waiting after the moment protected you is now slowly becoming the thing that may hold you back if you do not recognize the change that is happening. Let me speak plainly to your heart. When you wait during a season of preparation, that waiting strengthens you. It builds patience. It deepens your understanding. Yet when you continue waiting after the moment for movement has already arrived, the same waiting begins to quietly work against you. Think of it like standing beside a door that has just opened. Light from the other side is already visible. The invitation is already present. You can feel the opportunity standing there in front of you, but instead of stepping through, you pause to analyze every detail of what might be on the other side. While you stand there, someone else who sees the same open door may decide to step forward first. The door was not meant to exclude you, but time does not pause simply because you are still deciding. I want you to imagine that scene clearly because it reflects the quiet reality of many moments in life. Opportunities rarely shout. They simply open, wait, and then close when their window has passed. That is why I am inviting you now to wake up your awareness. Look carefully at the situations forming around you. Notice the ideas that have been returning to your mind again and again. Pay attention to the moments when you feel a gentle nudge telling you that something requires your attention. These are not coincidences. They are small signals that your season is shifting from reflection into movement.
I rebuke
Now I
every
want you
tongue
to
that
do
rises
something
against me
important.
right now in the mighty name of Christ Jesus.
Stop for a
Father,
moment
power angels,
and
I
examine the
command
thoughts
them
that have
to
been
fight against
slowing you
anyone who
down.
dares fight against my laptop in this
I
moment.
already
In
know
Jesus' mighty
them,
name.
but I
Amen.
want you to see
Amen.
them
Amen.
clearly as well. You sometimes tell yourself that you need
Kill them
just
if
a
you need
little
to,
more
Lord God.
time before
Thank
acting.
you, Jesus.
You want to gather more certainty. You want to make sure the decision will not lead to a mistake. You quietly wonder whether you are ready enough or capable enough to move forward. Those thoughts feel reasonable on the surface, yet they can slowly become a comfortable hiding place where progress never begins. I want you to hear me clearly on this point. Readiness does not arrive as a perfect feeling that removes mistake. You call that you need just a little more time before acting. You want to gather more certainty. You want to make sure the decision will not lead to a mistake. You quietly wonder whether you are ready enough or capable enough to move forward. Those thoughts feel reasonable on the surface, yet they can slowly become a comfortable hiding place where progress never begins. I want you to hear me clearly on this point. Readiness does not arrive as a perfect feeling that removes every doubt from your heart. It arrives as a moment where you sense that the step in front of you matters, even though some uncertainty still exists. That is the place where courage becomes important. You do not need complete confidence to begin moving. You simply need the willingness to step forward while your understanding is still growing. The path will reveal itself as you walk it. But if you stand still waiting for the entire road to appear before your eyes, you may remain in the same place longer than you ever intended. There is another part of this moment I want you to see honestly. Life continues moving whether you act or not. People around you are making decisions. Opportunities are forming in conversations, and ideas, and invitations that may seem ordinary at first glance. Some of those opportunities are meant for you to recognize and claim. But if you delay too long, someone else may move into that same space simply because they were willing to act sooner. This is not about rivalry or conflict.
Get to my fucking DMs.
It is simply the way time works in the world you live in. The person who begins moving earlier naturally gathers momentum. The one who hesitates continues watching from the same place. I do not want that story to become part of your life when the opportunity in front of you was always meant to involve you. That is why I am speaking to you with clarity and care right now. I am inviting you to wake up to the reality that the moment you are living in matters. Waiting longer will not necessarily bring more clarity. In fact, in some situations it quietly reduces the possibilities that once stood within your reach. So take a deep breath with me and consider what I am placing before you. I am not asking you to rush into chaos or abandon wisdom. I am asking you to become aware that you are no longer in a season where waiting quietly keeps everything safe. You have entered a season where thoughtful action will protect your future more than hesitation ever could. Let that understanding settle into your heart. Let it change the way you observe your surroundings. When an opportunity appears, lean toward it instead of stepping back from it. When an idea continues returning to your mind, explore it instead of pushing it aside. When you feel that inner pull telling you something matters, pause and give it your attention instead of dismissing it as a passing thought. The shift in your season means your role must also shift. The same thoughtful heart you have always carried will now guide your steps forward rather than holding you in place. Walk with that awareness. Pay attention. And when the moment arrives for you to move, do not hesitate to step forward and meet it. My child, I want you to stay with me as we continue this conversation, because the understanding I am about to share will help you see your situation with clearer eyes. There is a quiet reality in the world around you that many people rarely talk about openly. It is not loud or aggressive, and it does not always look like the kind of competition you might imagine. Most of the time it unfolds quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. People are pursuing their goals, their dreams, their opportunities. While they do this, they are naturally moving toward the same doors that others may also be approaching. It does not mean anyone intends harm. It simply means that opportunities exist within time, and the people who move toward them sooner often reach them first. I want you to see this truth without fear, because understanding it will help you recognize why your response to the present moment matters so much. Think about the opportunities that appear in life. Sometimes they arrive as ideas that spark in your mind. Other times they come through conversations, invitations, or circumstances that open new possibilities. When these moments appear, they rarely belong to only one person forever. They exist for anyone who is willing to notice them and step forward. While you are still reflecting and deciding, someone else may already be moving. While you are analyzing whether the step feels safe enough, another person may have already begun taking that step. The difference is not always talent or intelligence. Often the difference is simply the willingness to act while the opportunity is still fresh. I have watched this pattern repeat itself countless times in the lives of my children. Some individuals sense the moment and begin moving even while uncertainty still exists. Others remain thoughtful and cautious, believing there will always be another chance later. By the time they feel ready, the landscape around them has already shifted because someone else responded sooner. Now listen closely to what I want you to understand. Your life is not a race where my love must be earned by reaching the finish line before anyone else. You are not competing for my approval. You already have my attention, my care, and my presence. But certain opportunities still exist within the flow of time, and time continues moving forward for everyone. When a door opens, it creates a brief window where action can transform possibility into reality. That window does not remain open forever. The moment eventually shifts, and the opportunity takes a different form. I want you to see this not as a threat but as a reminder of how valuable the present moment truly is. The step you take today can position you in places that waiting cannot reach later. This is why awareness matters so much. When you notice the door opening, you gain the chance to move while the opportunity is still alive. Let me invite you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself standing in a wide field where several paths stretch out in different directions. You are not alone in that field. Other people are also present, each one considering which path to take. Some of them begin walking quickly. Others move slowly. A few remain standing still, trying to decide which direction feels safest. The paths themselves do not belong exclusively to one person. They simply exist, waiting for someone to walk them. The individuals who begin walking sooner start discovering what lies along the path. They learn from the experience, adjust their direction if needed, and continue moving forward. The ones who remain standing still may still have the same paths available at first, but as time passes, the landscape around them begins to change. New obstacles appear. The distance to the beginning of the path grows longer. What once required only a small step may later require much more effort. I share this picture with you because it reflects the moment you are living in right now. The field is open. The paths are visible. The question that matters is whether you will begin walking while the path in front of you is still close enough to reach easily. So I want you to do something very practical. Begin paying attention to the opportunities that appear around you over the next days and weeks. Do not dismiss them quickly. When something catches your attention, pause and explore it. Ask yourself whether this could be part of the direction forming in your life. If you sense that it might be important, take a small step toward it. Make the call. Start the conversation. Explore the idea. The first step does not need to be perfect. Its purpose is simply to move you from standing still into movement. Once you begin moving, you will discover things that cannot be seen from where you are standing now. A new clarity will appear. New doors may open, and you will no longer be watching life from a distance while others move ahead. Instead, you will be walking the path that was always meant for you to explore. My child, stay with me for a moment and allow me to speak gently into something I see within you. I want you to hear this with an open heart, because what I am about to say is not meant to criticize you. I know the private spaces of your thoughts. I see the quiet places where you weigh decisions and measure possibilities. When you hesitate, it is not because you are careless or lazy. Your hesitation often comes from a deep desire to make the right move. You want to choose wisely. You want to protect what matters in your life. You do not want to step forward only to discover that the path leads to disappointment. I understand that about you. Yet there is another layer beneath your hesitation that I want you to recognize. Sometimes the pause in your step is connected to a quiet question about your own worth. You may not say it aloud, but inside your mind there are moments when you wonder whether you truly belong in the opportunities appearing before you. You see possibilities forming, and part of you begins asking whether someone else might be more capable, more prepared, or more deserving than you are. That thought slips in quietly and sits beside your caution. It feels reasonable in the moment, but it slowly weakens your willingness to act. Now listen closely to me, because I want to shift how you see this part of yourself. When you begin to doubt your place in the opportunities around you, you start observing life from the outside instead of participating in it. You watch doors open while convincing yourself that they were meant for someone else. You study possibilities carefully while telling yourself that you still need more preparation before stepping forward. Over time, the pattern becomes comfortable, and comfort can quietly disguise itself as wisdom. But I want you to pause right here and look honestly at what is happening. Your life was never designed for you to remain on the sidelines while others move into the spaces that once stood open before you. The abilities inside you did not appear by accident. The experiences that shape your character were not random events. I allowed those moments to refine you, to strengthen your judgment, and to develop qualities that are meant to be used in real situations. When you question whether you are ready enough, you are often overlooking how much growth has already taken place within you. You have learned from failure. You have gained patience through difficulty. You have developed insight through the very challenges you once wished you could avoid. All of those things together form a kind of quiet strength that you carry today. So I want to invite you to do something practical with me right now. Instead of focusing only on what you still feel unsure about, begin looking at what you already carry within you. Think about the situations you have navigated in the past. Remember the moments when you thought you would not know what to do, yet somehow you found your way forward step by step. You did not always have a perfect plan when those moments began. In fact, many of them started with uncertainty that felt uncomfortable at first. Yet as you moved through the experience, understanding began to grow. Your confidence slowly formed through the act of participating rather than standing back and analyzing everything from a distance. I want you to see that same pattern unfolding again in your life right now. The opportunities you are facing may not come with detailed instructions. They may not arrive wrapped in certainty. But that does not mean you lack the ability to step into them. Often the strength required for a situation becomes visible only after you enter it. When you remain outside the situation, your mind keeps imagining reasons why you might not succeed. Once you begin moving, your focus shifts from imagining failure to discovering solutions. Let me guide your attention to another important truth. You are not expected to be flawless before you begin. Perfection is not the requirement for progress. Growth happens through experience, and experience naturally includes mistakes, adjustments, and lessons along the way. Many people remain frozen in place because they believe their first step must be perfectly executed. They spend years preparing for a moment that could have begun with a simple attempt. I do not want that to become your story. The purpose of your abilities is not to create an image of perfection that impresses others. The purpose of your abilities is to serve the life that is unfolding before you. When you begin moving, you learn what works. When something does not work, you adapt. When new information appears, you adjust your direction. That is how meaningful progress actually unfolds in the real world. I want you to embrace that process instead of waiting for a moment where every uncertainty disappears. Life rarely offers that kind of moment. So here is what I want you to do as you move forward from this point. When you notice hesitation rising inside you, pause and ask yourself what thought is sitting beneath it. If the thought is telling you that you are not ready enough, challenge it gently. Look at the experiences that have already prepared you. If the thought suggests that someone else might deserve the opportunity more than you do, remind yourself that opportunities often exist for anyone willing to step forward and engage with them. You do not need permission from the world to participate in the life unfolding around you. I have already placed you here with the capacity to contribute in ways that are uniquely yours. Allow that truth to settle into your heart. Let it change the way you approach the opportunities appearing before you. Instead of stepping back from them, begin leaning toward them with curiosity and courage. The path ahead will become clearer as you walk it, and the strength you need will grow stronger with every step you take. My child, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a moment in your life that looks completely ordinary from the outside. You wake up, go through your usual routines, and move through the day as you always do. Nothing about the morning suggests that anything significant is about to happen. Yet somewhere within that ordinary day, a quiet decision appears in front of you. It may arrive as a conversation you have been considering for a long time. It may appear as an opportunity you have been thinking about but never fully pursued. It may simply be the moment when you finally decide to begin something you have postponed again and again. From the outside, this decision may look small. It may not attract attention. It may not feel dramatic at first. Yet inside that small moment lies the power to redirect the course of your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Many of the most important turning points in life begin exactly this way. They arrive quietly, almost unnoticed, and they wait patiently to see what you will choose. I want you to understand something important about these quiet crossroads. When you are standing inside them, they rarely look as significant as they will appear when you look back years later. At the time, they simply feel like choices between one step and another. One direction feels familiar and safe. The other direction carries a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty. Because the moment appears ordinary, it becomes easy to treat it casually. People tell themselves that they will decide later. They assume the same opportunity will return at another time. Sometimes that assumption proves false. The moment fades, the circumstances change, and the choice that once stood clearly in front of them quietly disappears. Later, when they reflect on their life, they begin to realize that the turning point they overlooked was hidden within what once seemed like an ordinary day. I do not want that realization to come to you as regret in the future. That is why I am guiding your awareness now while the moment is still alive. Let me speak directly to you about the step that may soon appear before you. You may not recognize it immediately as a turning point. It might come disguised as a simple invitation to begin something new. It might appear as a decision you have postponed several times because the timing never felt perfect. When that moment arrives, I want you to slow down and examine it carefully. Instead of asking only whether the step feels comfortable, Ask yourself whether the opportunity carries meaning for the direction you want your life to take. If the answer feels even slightly significant, consider what might happen if you finally moved forward instead of stepping back. Imagine the conversations that might unfold. Picture the connections that might form. Consider the knowledge you might gain through the experience. Often the value of a decision cannot be measured by how easy it feels at the beginning. Its true value becomes visible through the doors it opens later. Now I want to give you a practical invitation that can help you respond differently when these moments appear. When you recognize a decision that seems important, do not rush past it as if it were just another passing thought. Pause and give it your full attention. Sit with the possibility for a while. Write down what excites you about it and what concerns you about it. Then ask yourself a simple question that can reveal the truth hidden beneath your hesitation. Ask yourself whether the fear you feel is warning you of real danger or simply reminding you that growth often begins outside your familiar routines. Many times the discomfort you feel is not a signal that the path is wrong. It is simply the natural reaction that comes whenever you step into new territory. Once you understand that difference, you can begin moving forward with a clearer mind. You will recognize when caution is wise and when courage is required. There is something else I want you to remember as you stand in these quiet crossroads. You are not alone in the decision you are about to make. I walk with you through every stage of your journey. Not alone in the decision you are about to make. I walk with you through every stage of your journey. My presence does not remove every uncertainty from your life, but it offers guidance as you move through it. When you choose to act with thoughtful courage, you begin discovering possibilities that were invisible while you were standing still. New ideas appear. New people enter your life. Unexpected opportunities begin connecting together in ways you could not have predicted earlier. All of this becomes possible because of one simple action. You chose to step forward instead of remaining where you were. That is how quiet decisions become turning points. They begin with a single movement, but that movement creates a ripple that spreads far beyond the moment in which it started. So I want you to hold this understanding close to your heart as we continue our conversation. The day you are living right now may look ordinary, yet within it may exist a decision that carries more importance than you currently realize. Pay attention to the choices that appear before you. Treat them with the respect they deserve. When the moment arrives where a step forward could open a new direction in your life, do not dismiss it casually. Take a breath, gather your courage, and consider what might happen if you finally move. Quiet decisions have the power to change everything. My child, stay here with me for a moment and let your heart slow down enough to hear what I am about to tell you. You have been measuring your readiness for a long time. I see the way your mind works. You want to understand the road before you step onto it. You prefer to feel prepared before you move. In many situations, that careful thinking has protected you from unnecessary trouble. I value the thoughtful spirit you carry. Yet I want to gently guide you toward a deeper understanding of something that shapes many lives without people realizing it. Readiness and courage are not the same thing. Many people believe they must wait until readiness arrives before they can begin anything meaningful. They tell themselves that one day they will wake up feeling fully prepared, completely certain, and perfectly confident about the step in front of them. But life rarely unfolds that way. The moment of readiness that people imagine often never arrives. What actually moves a person forward is courage, not the absence of doubt. Look closely at your own experiences and you will begin to see this pattern. Think about the times when you faced something unfamiliar in the past. Perhaps it was a new responsibility, a difficult conversation, or a situation where you had to rely on abilities you had not used before. In those moments, you probably did not feel fully prepared. Your thoughts may have been racing with questions. You may have wondered whether you would handle the situation well. Yet you stepped forward anyway, even if your step was small and careful. Once you entered the situation, something interesting happened. Your understanding began to grow. Solutions appeared that were invisible before. Strength that you did not realize you possessed started rising to the surface. That is the quiet miracle of courage. Courage does not remove uncertainty before you act. It allows you to move while uncertainty still exists. When you step into a situation with courage, you create the environment where your abilities can finally reveal themselves. Now I want you to do something simple but powerful. Take a breath and reflect on how often you have postponed a step in your life because you were waiting to feel completely ready. You may have told yourself that you needed more time, more knowledge, or more confidence before beginning. Those reasons may have felt responsible and wise at the time. Yet some of those moments might still linger in your memory today because you sense that you could have begun earlier. I am not bringing those memories to your attention to make you feel regret. I am showing them to you so you can recognize the pattern, and because you were waiting to feel completely ready. You may have told yourself that you needed more time, more knowledge, or more confidence before beginning. Those reasons may have felt responsible and wise at the time. Yet some of those moments might still linger in your memory today because you sense that you could have begun earlier. I am not bringing those memories to your attention to make you feel regret. I am showing them to you so you can recognize the pattern and choose a different response moving forward. The opportunity forming around you right now does not require perfect readiness. It asks for willingness. It invites you to step forward with a heart that is open to learning as you go. When you accept that invitation, the process of growth begins immediately. Every step becomes a teacher. Every experience becomes a lesson that shapes your next move. Let me give you an image that might help you understand this more clearly. Imagine standing at the edge of a wide river. You want to reach the other side, but the water looks deep, and you cannot see every stone beneath the surface. If you wait for the river to become completely transparent before you begin crossing, you may remain standing on the same shore forever. But if you take one careful step into the water, you begin discovering where the stones are. Each step reveals the next place where your foot can rest. You are in the rhythm of the current. Your balance adjusts. Before long you realize that the crossing was possible all along. That is how courage works in your life. It does not promise that the entire journey will be visible from the beginning. It simply invites you to begin walking so the path can reveal itself gradually. I want you to carry that image with you because it reflects the moment you are living in right now. So here is my invitation to you. When you notice the familiar voice inside your mind asking whether you are ready enough, pause and listen carefully. Instead of answering that question immediately, ask a different one. Ask yourself whether you have enough courage to begin learning through action. That question shifts your focus from perfection to participation. It reminds you that the purpose of your life is not to wait endlessly for certainty, but to engage with the opportunities that appear before you. When you choose courage in this way, you open the door to experiences that will shape your growth in ways that waiting never could. I am beside you as you take those steps. My guidance will continue to reach you as you move forward. Allow courage to lead your next decision, and watch how new understanding begins unfolding in front of you. My child, there is another truth I want you to understand as we continue this conversation. Many people believe that action creates risk while waiting keeps them safe. At first glance, that idea seems reasonable. If you remain where you are, you avoid mistakes. If you do not step forward, nothing appears to go wrong. Yet the deeper reality of life reveals something very different. In many situations, action is what protects your future, while hesitation slowly narrows the possibilities that once stood before you. I want you to see this clearly because it will change the way you think about the decisions you are facing right now. When you choose to act at the right moment, you begin shaping the direction of your life instead of allowing circumstances to shape it without your participation. Consider the way opportunities develop. When you take action, even a small step, you create movement. Movement leads to new experiences. Those experiences introduce you to people, ideas, and situations that would never appear if you remained in the same place. A simple decision to explore an opportunity may lead to a conversation that opens another door. That conversation might connect you with someone who shares knowledge or insight you did not previously have. From that new understanding, another possibility begins to grow. Over time, these small movements form a chain of progress that can transform the direction of your life. None of it begins with a perfect plan. It begins with a willingness to act while the opportunity is still present. The person who begins walking discovers pathways that remain invisible to the one who stays behind studying the map. Now imagine the opposite situation for a moment. A person notices an opportunity but decides to wait until everything feels more certain. Days pass. Weeks pass. The opportunity slowly changes shape because time continues moving forward. Other people begin responding to it. New circumstances develop around it. By the time the person finally feels ready to act, the landscape has shifted. The door that once stood open may not have closed completely, but it now requires far more effort to enter. What once needed a simple step now demands a complicated climb. This is how hesitation quietly reduces possibilities without people realizing it. The future becomes smaller not because the person lacked ability, but because they waited too long to engage with the moment when the opportunity was most accessible. I want you to understand that action does not guarantee immediate success. No honest path in life offers that promise. What action does guarantee is experience, growth, and visibility into the next stage of your journey. When you act, you gather information that cannot be gained through thinking alone. You begin learning what works and what does not. You meet people who influence your direction in unexpected ways. You discover strengths inside yourself that would remain hidden if you never tested them in real situations. All of these things combine to protect your future because they expand your understanding of what is possible. Waiting, on the other hand, keeps your world small. It limits your knowledge to the thoughts already inside your mind. It prevents new influences from entering your life. Let me invite you to picture your future as a landscape that is still forming. Each action you take places a new piece into that landscape. Some pieces become stepping stones that lead to opportunities you could not imagine earlier. Other pieces become lessons that guide you away from paths that would not serve you well. Either way, movement keeps the landscape alive and expanding. The moment you stop moving, the landscape begins to shrink around you because nothing new is being added to it. That is why I want you to see action not as something dangerous, but as something protective. It guards your future by keeping possibilities open. It allows your life to grow in directions that waiting alone could never create. So I want you to take this understanding seriously as you continue moving through the days ahead. When you see an opportunity forming, do not immediately step back in fear of making a mistake. Instead, pause and ask yourself what small action could move you one step closer to exploring that possibility. It might be a message you send, a conversation you begin, or a simple plan you start putting into motion. These actions may seem small in the moment, yet they carry the power to open doors that remain invisible to those who never begin. I am encouraging you now to step into that movement. Let your actions become the seeds that shape the future you are meant to experience. My child, Just as I have shown you that action protects your future, I now reveal another opportunity before you. When you choose to support the spreading of my word through this message, you are sowing seeds into a field of souls that are searching for light. I tell you now, as it is written in Galatians 6:7, that whatever a person sows, that they will also reap, and every seed given for my purpose produces a harvest beyond what your eyes can see. Through your super thanks, your membership, or your PayPal offering placed through the link in the description, you become part of the movement that carries my voice to hearts that are waiting in darkness. This is not merely a donation. It is oil poured into a lamp so the light can reach further into the night. I am stirring this desire within you because you were not meant to stand still when you can help open doors for others. If your heart feels that pull right now, it is my invitation calling you to act. Sow the seed I place in your hand today, and watch how I multiply the harvest around your life. So do not hesitate. Support this mission now and become part of the work I am doing through this message. My child, I want you to stay with me for a moment and look honestly at something that many people feel but rarely admit out loud. There are times in life when you suddenly notice that someone else has begun moving towards something you had quietly been considering yourself. You see another person stepping into an opportunity, starting a project, beginning a journey, or speaking the idea that once lived only in your own thoughts. When that happens, a strange feeling can rise inside you. It might feel like surprise at first. Then it may turn into a quiet disappointment that sits in your chest longer than you expect. You. Beginning a journey, person stepping into an opportunity, starting a project, beginning a journey, or speaking the idea that once lived only in your own thoughts. When that happens, a strange feeling can rise inside you. It might feel like surprise at first. Then it may turn into a quiet disappointment that sits in your chest longer than you expect. You may start wondering whether you waited too long, whether the moment you sensed has already passed. I know you have felt that kind of moment before. You watched something unfold and realized that the first step could have been yours. I want you to listen closely now because what I am about to tell you will change the way you see those situations. The truth is that life often moves in quiet parallel paths. Many people may sense the same opportunity at the same time. Ideas travel through conversations, observations, and experiences that multiple people share. What makes the difference is not who notices the opportunity first, but who begins responding to it. When someone else starts moving sooner, it does not mean you lost your place or that the door was never meant for you. It simply means they chose action earlier. Yet here's the important part I want you to understand. Even when someone else begins moving first, your path does not disappear. Your journey is still open in front of you. What matters now is how you respond in the present moment rather than how you judge the past moment. Many people become stuck at this point because they allow comparison to freeze their motivation. They see another person moving forward and assume the opportunity is no longer theirs to pursue. They step back, believing the story has already been written without them. That belief is often untrue. Let me invite you to look at the situation differently. Instead of seeing another person's action as a signal that you missed your chance, view it as confirmation that the opportunity is real. Their movement simply proves that the path you sensed actually exists. The door you noticed was not your imagination. It was genuine. Someone else stepped through it because they chose to move. That truth should not discourage you. It should awaken your awareness even more. It should remind you that the opportunity you sense deserves your attention and your courage. When you see someone else beginning a journey you once considered, do not retreat into silence. Lean forward instead. Ask yourself what step you can take now. Begin exploring your own direction within that same space. There are often many ways to walk through a door. The first person may open it, but others can still enter through their own path if they are willing to move. Now I want to give you a practical invitation. The next time you notice someone moving ahead in a direction you once considered, do not immediately judge yourself. Instead, pause and ask yourself one question that can shift your entire mindset. Ask yourself whether their action is a signal inviting you to begin your own movement now. Instead of seeing their progress as a loss, treat it as confirmation that the path is real and worth exploring. Take a small step. Start the conversation you once delayed. Begin developing the idea you kept thinking about. Explore the opportunity with curiosity rather than regret. When you respond this way, comparison loses its power to paralyze you. A moment transforms from a reminder of hesitation into an invitation toward action. I want you to remember that your story is not written by watching what others do. Your story is written by the steps you choose to take next. Look forward. Move forward. Let the actions of others become signals that awaken your courage rather than shadows that dim your confidence. My child, before you take another step in this journey we are discussing together, I want you to pause and recognize something about yourself that you may not fully see yet. Inside you there is a kind of strength that developed quietly over time. It did not appear subtly in a dramatic moment. It grew slowly through experiences that tested your patience, challenged your understanding, and stretched your resilience. Every difficulty you faced contributed something to that strength. Each disappointment you survived added another layer to your ability to endure. Yet because this strength formed gradually, you may not recognize how powerful it has become. You carry it with you every day without fully noticing its presence. Think about the seasons you have already walked through. There were moments when you felt uncertain about how you would move forward. You may have faced situations where the path ahead looked confusing or discouraging. At times you probably wished that those moments would disappear quickly so life could return to something easier. Yet you continue walking through them one step at a time. You learned lessons from circumstances that once felt overwhelming. You discovered ways to adapt when things did not unfold according to your plans. Each of those experiences strengthened parts of you that could not have grown in comfortable conditions. When you look back carefully, you will see that the person you are today carries more resilience than the person you were in earlier seasons of your life. Now I want you to do something important. Instead of focusing only on the uncertainties that lie ahead, take a moment to remember the evidence of strength that already exists within you. Reflect on the times when you faced challenges that once seemed impossible. Notice how you navigated them step by step. Even when you did not feel confident at the beginning, you found ways to continue. Those experiences reveal something significant about you. They show that your ability to adapt and persevere is far greater than your doubts often suggest. When you carry that understanding into the decisions you are facing now, your perspective begins to change. Instead of asking whether you are strong enough to handle the next step, you begin to recognize that strength often reveals itself through the process of stepping forward. Let me invite you into a new way of seeing yourself. Imagine your life as a long path where each challenge has been like a stone placed beneath your feet. At the moment when each stone appeared, it may have felt like an obstacle blocking your way. But as you continued walking, those same stones became the foundation that helped you cross difficult terrain. Without them, the path would have been harder to navigate. The experiences that once frustrated you now form the ground beneath your confidence. They remind you that you have already overcome situations you once believed were too difficult. This is the quiet strength I want you to recognize. It does not need applause to exist. It does not depend on anyone else's approval. It lives within you as the result of the journey you have already traveled. So I want you to carry this awareness with you as we continue our conversation. When doubt begins whispering that you may not be ready for the opportunities appearing before you, Remember the strength that has been forming within you for years. Let those memories remind you that growth often happens in ways you do not immediately notice. The resilience you developed through past experiences is now part of who you are. It travels with you into every new situation you face. Trust that strength. Allow it to guide your next step. When you move forward with that awareness, you begin seeing yourself not as someone who might fail, but as someone who has already proven the ability to rise through challenge and continue walking. My child, stay close to this moment with me, because I want to speak honestly about something that many people do not understand until much later in their lives. There is a particular kind of weight that settles on a person's heart when they look back at their past and realize that certain opportunities were left untouched. I am not talking about the regret that comes from trying something and learning through failure. That kind of regret is like compared to another kind that grows heavier with time. The deeper regret appears when someone realizes that they never tried at all. It forms slowly when a person remembers the moments when they felt an inner pull to act but decided to wait instead. At the time, those decisions seemed harmless. The day continued normally. Nothing dramatic happened. Life moved on as usual. Yet years later, those quiet moments return to the mind like echoes from another room. The person begins to recognize that the opportunity they dismissed had the potential to lead somewhere meaningful. I want you to hear this truth now while you still stand inside the present moment, not years later when the past cannot be changed. Let me invite you to imagine something with me for a moment. Picture yourself many years from now looking back across the landscape of your life. You remember the places you visited, the people who walked beside you, and the decisions that shaped your path. Among those memories, there will be certain crossroads that stand out clearly. Some of them will be moments when you chose courage even though you felt uncertain. Those memories will carry a quiet sense of pride because you will know that you honored the opportunity placed before you. Other memories might involve times when hesitation held you in place. You will remember how you told yourself that the moment could wait. You believed another chance would appear later. In that future reflection, the question that may rise inside you will be simple yet powerful. What might have happened if I had taken that step when the opportunity first appeared? I want you to pause here and let that question sink into your awareness today. Feel the weight of it gently pressing against your heart. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken your sense of responsibility toward the present moment you are living right now. Now listen carefully to the invitation I am giving you. Do not treat the opportunities that appear before you as ordinary details that can be postponed without consequence. Instead, begin observing them with fresh attention. When an idea returns to your mind again and again, pause and explore it rather than dismissing it quickly. When you feel a quiet excitement about a possibility, lean closer to it instead of stepping back. When a conversation or invitation appears that could move your life in a new direction, consider responding to it with curiosity and courage. You do not need to rush blindly into every situation. What I want from you is awareness and willingness. Allow yourself to participate in the possibilities forming around you. When you do this, you transform the present moment into a field of opportunity instead of a place of hesitation. You become someone who engages with life rather than someone who watches life from a distance. There is another truth I want you to hold in your heart as you move forward from this moment. Your future self will thank you for the courage you choose today. Every step you take toward growth, learning, and meaningful experience adds something valuable to the story of your life. Even if the path does not unfold exactly as you imagined, the experience itself becomes part of your wisdom. You gain understanding that cannot be learned through observation alone. You meet people who shape your perspective. You discover abilities that remained hidden until you decided to use them. All of these things enrich your life in ways ways that hesitation never could. That is why I am encouraging you now. Do not wait until the future to recognize the importance of the moment you are living in today. Look at the opportunities in front of you. Listen to the quiet invitation within your heart. Take the step that moves you forward. When you do this, you protect yourself from the kind of regret that comes from wondering what might have been. My child, now that we have spoken about the cost of waiting too long, I want to turn your attention towards something hopeful that exists in your life right now. The moment you are living in is still open. The opportunity forming around you has not disappeared. The path ahead has not been closed. You are not standing outside a locked door wishing you had acted earlier. Instead, you are standing in front of a doorway that remains within reach. This is important for you to understand because many people allow discouragement to convince them that they are already too late. They assume that because they hesitated before, the opportunity must have vanished completely. That assumption often becomes a barrier that prevents them from seeing the possibilities still present around them. I want you to release that belief. You are not late. You are not behind. The window in front of you is still open, and the moment to move still exists. Let me guide your attention to the subtle ways this opportunity may appear in your life. It may not look dramatic or extraordinary when you first notice it. It might appear as a conversation that keeps returning to your mind. It might show up as an idea that refuses to leave your thoughts even when you try to focus on other things. It could arrive through a connection with someone who shares information that sparks your curiosity. These moments are often the quiet signals that a door is standing open nearby. Because they appear in simple forms, many people overlook them. They expect opportunities to arrive with loud announcements or clear instructions. Yet the most meaningful doors often appear quietly, waiting for someone to recognize their potential. I want you to begin looking at your life with this awareness. Pay attention to the small signals that point toward possibility. Now I want you to do something intentional with that awareness. When you notice an opportunity that seems meaningful, do not immediately tell yourself that it can wait for another day. Instead, pause and consider what step you could take right now to move closer to it. The step does not need to be large. Sometimes the most important action is simply beginning the conversation or exploring the idea further. Send the message you have been thinking about. Schedule the meeting you keep postponing. Begin researching the path you have been curious about. These actions may seem simple, yet they transform possibility into movement. They show that you are willing to engage with the opportunity rather than observing it from a distance. Let me remind you of something that can strengthen your confidence in this moment. You are not expected to know every detail of the journey before you begin. The path ahead will reveal itself gradually as you move forward. Each step you take creates new understanding that guides the next step. This is how progress naturally unfolds in life. If you wait for complete certainty before moving, you may remain in the same place far longer than necessary. But if you choose to act while the window remains open, you allow your life to expand in directions that waiting alone could never produce. So listen to my invitation carefully. Look at the door standing in front of you today. Notice that it has not closed. Place far longer than necessary. Moving, you may remain in the same place far longer than necessary. But if you choose to act while the window remains open, you allow your life to expand in directions that waiting alone could never produce. So listen to my invitation carefully. Look at the door standing in front of you today.